Hi, my name is Daryll Tan. I've been an entrepreneur for the past 12 years. I own 9 businesses, survived most of them. Not all are running, but that is how I've learned so far as well. I'm a son, I'm a brother, I am a husband. My wonderful wife is there. I'm also a father of 2, but none living. You see, in November last year and June this year, my wife and I suffered from 2 miscarriages. We were told that we were able to conceive, no problem, our friends around us, family, but we don't know the truth about conceiving. No one taught us. There's no education around this topic. We went through our lives, and in this season we have learned so much because we then put education on ourselves and we taught ourselves what miscarriages is, how do we get back up, and what the community around us teaches us. That's education, and that's us taking it outside and making it our responsibility. Education is for all of us. Education is our business. Education is our responsibility. There are cracks in the education ecosystem, not the education system. What do I mean by ecosystem? That means for us, the way we learn is a complementing factor of many things that come together, not just the 4 walls of a classroom. That's important to take note. Because if you have a crack in a boat, I hope you go and fix that crack. If you see a child in distress at the side of the road, go and help that child. If you see a problem in education, fix that crack within. Therefore, education, your business. In 2009, I stepped out of university. It's a bit uncanny to say this here because we're in the university. I say this with a big caveat to say that I'm not asking you to step out of university. I intentionally stepped out of university because the way I learn is different. I was in college one day and then I was among my friends. One of my lecturers came up to my friends and said, "Oh, what you're doing, yada yada." One of my friends asked a question, an analytics question. The lecturer responded to my friend and said, "Oh, this is a simple question. Go and ask any of your friends here, except that tall one, me." I did not learn in the 4 walls of a classroom, but that's just me. Your university, the term university to you can mean many things. Your mindset, your values, your principles, your community, the people around you, your friends, your ministry, whatever that is hindering you from fulfilling your full purpose and achieving that process, that's your university. And that's where you need to step out of, and not necessarily the 4 walls of a classroom. Each their own, each learn your own way. And I had to be my own teacher. You know why? Because in the education of life, I started university, I did not have a syllabus. I did not have a timetable or schedule. I had to put education on my own and learn. And thankfully, with God's blessing, I am here today, where I am. I've also been a lecturer for 2 years. I don't have a degree. But all boils down to an ecosystem of learning. Many of you may think learning is systematic, where you're placed in a position where you must learn it this way, limited through one lens. Let me tell you that education in this day and age is not a one-way approach. It's systemic. Everything relies on each other. Our whole body relies on every part to perform. And so is education. Therefore, an ecosystem of education outperforms an education with rigid systems. We need to find the right place of learning and not just stick to one road. And in this whole idea of learning, we all need to learn because it is key. It doesn't mean that if I tell you something, you will learn something. Learning needs to take place. Have you ever had that aha moment? You know, where you think about something, you have a conversation with your friends and you're like, aha! That's what was missing. And in this aha moment, learning takes place. And when you have an aha moment, I hope that you can also apply what you have learned and to make a difference. It doesn't mean that aha moments happen every day. And when it happens, know that you have learned. Learning is happening now as well as I speak here. Learning is like how you learn to ride a bike. When I was younger, I loved riding bikes. No idea why, but I just loved riding bikes around my neighborhood. I learned how to ride a bike, getting on a bike. My parents would push me, I would cycle, and I would fall. And I would scrape my knees, and I'm sure all of you have experienced that as well. But I got up. Learning is like that. It's through experience that you learn. And it's through experience you get up and go again that you can apply that in your daily life as well. In this whole education ecosystem, there are cracks and problems and root problems everywhere you look at. There are corruption or being corrupted and have an error in probably our mindset. The content that we receive, the content that we digest, sometimes can corrupt our idea of learning. And when that happens, you need a reboot. It's the same, like if your computer was corrupted. In this whole ecosystem, I find that there are cracks in joints and connections. There are disconnects in how we learn from a barrage of things. If you look at education just from a formal standpoint, that's one part of the story. The ecosystem happens when the informal plays a vital role. The informal experiences, your friends, family, community, comes together, bands together and say, hey, let's learn together. From their experience to yours, how they download their experience to you, now that's where the magic happens. Sometimes education is outdated. It's bleeding through the essence of outdated syllabus. For us, that is unprepared to hit the workforce, unprepared to live life. And I was unprepared. My wife and I was unprepared for miscarriage. I was unprepared to fail many times in my business. But if someone would have taught me, or someone would have given me a heads up, I think I would appreciate that a lot. I think I would have aha moments. But in turn, I then look at myself and say, education is my business. Now it's my turn then to educate others. Do not underestimate the power of foundations. All of us can start from ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. Don't let your foundation be shaky. What are your principles? What are your values? What is your mindset? Because many people's foundation are built on sand. Not strong enough to go through the toughest of life. Not strong enough, perhaps, to get an internship or a job. But why? But why? One of my spiritual leaders always tells me this: don't go where your talent can bring you, but your character cannot sustain you. All of us are talented. All of us can be competent. But if our foundation is not strong, and when we fall hard. 12 years of running businesses, I am very well aware, and I'm very aware of how I should learn and start things from the beginning. It's okay for all of us to start things small, to learn how to crawl, to learn how to cruise, to walk, to run, and then to sprint. Because if you sprint from the beginning, you will fall when challenges come your way. And when you don't know how to crawl, you will not be resourceful enough to get back up. Take responsibility to build a foundation over you that is strong, that is able to withstand life and also any educational material that is thrown at you, because you know your direction and you know what kind of foundation you're building. One of the greatest martial artists, Bruce Lee, said this: "Be like water, my friend." Do you know that education nowadays needs to be fluid? It needs to be flexible. You need to be flexible. Water can give life, but water can also take away life, can destroy. If you be like water, I hope that you will use education for good, and you will give life to others. And to destroy what is bad, because bad things happen when good people do nothing. We need to stretch our comfort zone so wide that we are resourceful to get over the mountain and not be stuck. So be flexible in your learning, be flexible in how you look at education and how you see that ecosystem around you. Have you ever had someone say this to you? Wow, great perspective. I've been mentoring young people for many years now as well. And one of my greatest joys is to hear this: "Wow, thank you for your time. Wow, good perspective. Wow, I did not know that." One of the smartest person I know, my eldest sister, told me this when I was starting off my first business. She told me, and it sticks with me up to today. Says, "Daryll, if you want to be an eagle, don't mix around with turkeys. If you want to soar like an eagle, don't mix around with turkeys." So I intentionally also source out my eagles. But in years to come, I realized that, hey, I am not the only eagle in the room. I am also a turkey to some people. Choose your battle. Choose to be around community that uplifts you and change you for the good. You need to relearn. Relearning is putting aside your humility. There's nothing wrong with that. Humility won't kill you. You need to relearn and always relearn. There's no such thing as a guru in this day and moment. You go to sleep tonight, you wake up, a company shuts down, a company changed name, something changes. You need to relearn. You need to reskill. Competence, hard skill and soft skill is still very important in this day and age. You need to know how to do the work and not just talk. And that's what I've learned in running businesses and hiring people. You need to have EQ and IQ. And you need to reimagine the future. That's education. Reimagine the future when you're here now. Be innovative and be creative in the way you approach education. It's okay to be grateful for the now, but to also be ambitious for the future. And that's where reimagining comes into play. And I say this: make education free. Make education free to access, free to learn. Make education free to be more than who you are or what it can be. Make education free so that you can take responsibility over your own education and to grow at your own speed. I leave you with this. Many of us come into this world like an A4 paper, blank, and probably only one objective is to be written on or drawn on. But I encourage you that you do not stick to just being an A4 paper. I want all of you to reimagine yourself being flexible, building that foundation, relearning, reskilling, reimagining, being fluid, building a community, having an ecosystem for yourself, and be flexible until you can be more than an A4 paper, until you can fly. That's progression of education. And that's where we see learning at its best. So don't just be an A4 paper. Learn to fold, allow yourself to be flexible, and allow yourself to fly. And in all things, that's why I say, make education your problem. Make education your priority. Make education your business. My name is Daryll Tan. Thank you very much. Take care and God bless.